So, for years now, these social media companies have been acting like they should be in charge of all the conversations in our country. They decide what opinions are allowed, what people are allowed to say, and basically act like a bit of a big tech dictatorship. But before I go down the rabbit hole about the dystopia we're headed towards, today we're here to talk about some good news. Well, depending on your opinion, and that's Twitch unbanning Donald Trump. Now, of course, I'm not oblivious. I realize that not everyone is going to be happy about this. There was a lot of people who are pretty anti-Trump out there, but I don't really see this as a pro or anti-Trump move. I see this as a move back towards being a country where we are allowed to have conversations again. It's not just Twitch either. Facebook and Instagram have also chosen to let Trump back on their sites, which is also good for us having a free and open conversation about who we want to elect. It is important that we can, but it's also kind of troubling that all these sites seem to do these things all at the same time. But to get into that, we need to talk about why Trump was banned off all these platforms to begin with. Just before he left office back in 2021, there was a bit of an incident in early January. You might remember it. Some people call it an insurrection, some people call it a peaceful protest. But for our purposes, it doesn't really matter how you feel about that. What followed in the wake of this controversial day in American history was Trump's removal from pretty much every social media platform. He was banned from Twitter almost immediately, though he's back now that Elon bought the place, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, Twitch. It all happened at once, as if the tech companies were colluding together to make it happen, which is not something that's out of the realm of possibility. After all, most of these companies' offices were primarily located in California at the time, so it stands to reason that not only the top brass at these companies, but even most of the day-to-day workers were all politically opposed to Donald Trump. The removal of Trump's accounts from most of social media is not a great thing, in my opinion, because we had just gone through a pretty heated election cycle, and then suddenly half of the country can't even hear from the person who had been their candidate. It had a really chilling effect on the freedom of speech and political expression that I think is overlooked, and this only changed when Elon decided to buy Twitter and actually let people have opinions that differ from those of middle-aged, rich Californians. Now, the Overton window is slipping back to the right, it seems. And while they hadn't reinstated Trump before, companies like Twitch are doing it now. They say that they're doing it now because he's now the actual nominee for the Republican Party, but I think that's just kind of a cop-out. I think the real reason is that thanks to the loosening of the restrictions on Twitter, people have slowly begun to wake up to how weirdly our politics are captured and controlled by media companies. And so now, to try and win back some of the lost reputation from their outright bias in the past, these companies are relenting to the pressure from the right and allowing Trump back. The fact remains that he probably should have never been banned in the first place, and likely wouldn't have been if the Silicon Valley tech bros didn't think that they were our betters and weren't trying to control the information that we have access to. It's not really just a right-wing thing either. Most Democrats that I know are very concerned by how tech companies sideline certain candidates like Bernie Sanders and RFK Jr. in favor of the status quo, which was especially egregious this election cycle, an accident that has now caused the Democrat Party to be without a nominee and without time for a new democratic process to take place, essentially letting the top dog Democrats install whatever nominee they want. Certainly some of that can be explained by the tech companies censoring or hiding from the algorithm all of the many posts about Biden's health and fitness for office over the past few years. This wasn't a thing that started on that debate stage, and yet, in such a connected world, that was the first time that most people saw it. Weird. You'd think that that would pop up on social media more, right? If you can't tell, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you fall on. I'm just against censorship in pretty much any form. I don't think that it should be up to people who see themselves as our betters to determine what kind of information we have access to or how it is presented to us. Whether that's Trump's mean tweets or Biden's declining mental state, no tech company should have control over whether or not we can see or share them. So it's a good thing that Trump is finally being allowed back on Twitch. I don't think that he will use it, but the option should be open to him if he wants to, especially if he wants to do Minecraft gameplay with Biden and Obama like those meme videos. There is no real reason or justification that can overcome the public interest in hearing a presidential candidate speak, because if he wins, well, Twitch blocking access to his views or statements could mean that there are less people informed about what he's doing or why. Though I will say that it is kind of funny that because of his ban from all of these platforms, he went on to make Truth Social, which doesn't seem outwardly to be super successful, but he ended up making hundreds of millions of dollars from it, even though virtually no one is using it. It was a stock market thing. I could go into details, but it would be really boring. boring. So anyway, what do you guys think? Is there any reason that would justify the removal of a candidate from any online platform which wouldn't hurt public interests? I don't think there is. Personally, I'm against stopping people from speaking in almost any circumstance, even if what they are saying is horrific. Sunlight is always the best disinfectant, or so the saying goes. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless you.